Hey, Jamie, Andy, what's going on this Thursday?
Hey Scott, not a whole lot. Hi Jamie, how are you?
I am good, Andy. How are things going over there in your part of Texas?
Yeah, well, you know what? It hasn't been bad the last few days as far as the temperature goes, but I'm sure, yeah, it's going to warm up real quickly.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah, yeah. We've been
yeah, for
spoiled,
sure.
kind of like California weather, but it ain't gonna last.
No, no. All right, hi everybody. Hello, all you regulars out there. I see you, Mike C. We're going to start getting started here, going through talking about all the things we have to offer here at Trade Ideas. But before we do, I need to just go through the disclaimer real quick. Uh, Guys, this is for educational purposes only. Jamie and I are going to be talking about some setups and trades and things like that, but nothing should be construed as investment advice. If that's what you're looking for, go see a stockbroker or an RIA, somebody who has a license. All right. 5-star support, education, and training. All you regulars, bear with me while I go through this. But for you people in here that are kind of kicking the tires and thinking about trying out trade ideas, I just want to tell you it's a very powerful software, but it's also, once you get familiar with it, it's very intuitive, and it's our job to show you how intuitive it is, and we do that through all of our webinars. You can see there on the left. Well, let's first talk about the trading room. I'm sure most of you have been in there. If you haven't, you need to get in there because it's free for everybody. It's moderated by Barry. Does a great job of keeping the attendees tame, and there's some very good traders in there, guys. Share some great ideas. Majority of them are using the software, and just a great place to learn not only how to trade but learn about the software. And then we do webinars Monday through Thursday, all at the 5 Eastern time slot. Juggling Jamie, myself, and Steve Gomez. That's usually two of the three will be doing the webinars, but on Wednesday we do throw Dan Merkin and Brad Williams. That's our CEO and our CTO at you for a great Q&A webinar and a demonstration of some stuff coming down the pike. All right. We don't end there. Friday support session. Excuse me, guys, while I get some water here. Every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern time, we have a Friday support session. We open the room up for just Q&A. Great place to learn, even if you think you know everything. Promise you, get in there, you're going to learn something that you didn't. Scheduled for 3 hours. Summertime, it usually runs about 2 to 2.5, depending on how the questions keep coming. But as long as they keep coming, we stay in there. All right. Let's not forget TI University, guys. What this is a 4-course class starting on every Monday at 12 Eastern. We start with Beginners 101, and we graduate each day at the same time slot until we get to 401 Advanced, which Jamie rounds out on Thursday. It's about an hour of curriculum, and then we open it up for Q&A afterwards. I promise you, if you take that, you're going to have a really good idea of the software and how it works. And then if you don't, just come to that Q&A on Fridays. All right. IB, we have been touting this for a while, and we'll continue to tout it because it is a great interface that works with interactive brokers at this time. It's a way, if you want to automate your strategies, you can do so, but it's really cool because you can create risk parameters as a strategy, and then you can use point and click on the chart and trade. It is really incredible interface. So if you want to know more about that, go to trade-ideas.com/beta. All right, the agenda for today, market recap. Summer doldrums already, man. The last couple of days, Jamie, it's been just like wake up market. But you know, there's action out there, and that's one thing about Holly. I mean, I should say our software, it'll find it for you. But you know what? Even though it was kind of a back and forth, sloppy, no volume day in the market, boy, Holly, not that bad at all. And we'll go over some trades there for sure. I was really impressed with NEO today with only 5 trades, and risk off did I think it didn't have one loser and risk off. It was a great day there for Neo and for 2.0. All of them did good. And then I'm going to go over, I think this is going to be important for you guys, and I'll get to that topic, but basically it's going to be kind of a talk on the predatory algos out there and how you almost have to go be unconventional if you're going to try to be a day trader. Now there's always the volume plays, momentum plays, and all that you can definitely do well, but if that's not your game and you're more of a slower day trader, I'm going to kind of give you some ideas of how you yeah, it back tests pretty good, but you can get some really good ideas. But anyway, we'll get into that once it's time. Let me back out of this and pull up the SPY. Oh, something went on. All right. Go over the market recap right here, guys. Here we have the spiders. Let me zoom in a little bit. I'm on my laptop, so I don't have my little pen with me today, but well, here's what we got. We got a market that really rallied off these lows. We talked about it, got up here and put in a topping tail and closed on lows that day. Boy, I'm sure a lot of people thought we were going to pull back, but we're not. We're kind of just sloppily trading sideways. Tried to gap up on this day and sold off, closed near lows as well. Yesterday, a spinning top. And boy, you got a red and spinning. It's like battling tops right here, Jamie. You got a red spinning top and a green one. But,
oh yeah, I mean, we're doing the sideways shuffle right now.
Mm-hmm. We are. Which for the bulls, I think is a good thing if you're a long-term trader and you've rode this rally up. Let's say you bought some stuff and you took some profits and you're sitting in half still, and boy, this is the kind of action you want to see. Because it's typically when you come out of a move and trade sideways for a while, usually the next move is higher again. Not always. There's always an exception, of course, but I would say most of the time that's what the action you see. But let's see if we can move up during the day, because really, boy, last 4 days, 4 days, we just really could not get any upward momentum price action during the day. And today was really no exception. You had the rally there on the close. You can see down here in this bar that even turned it into a green bar there. So, but sideways action, boy, relative volume, is that the spiders? Yeah, 0.73. So we're not seeing a whole look at yesterday, just look at these two meager bars right here. Boy, yeah, that's the sign of summer there. All right. What may happen here? We're back above our averages now. You got the 10 crossing over the 20. The 50s kind of looked like it wanted to roll over a while back, but boy, it's just turned flattening out now. Along with, look at that flat 200-day, Jamie. It just basically tells you we haven't gone a whole lot of places in the last 200 days when you see these, and 50 days when you see these averages flattening out like that. So let's see what happens. Zooming out, you can see, guys, where you got to go to get that all-time high over here and there. So not far to go, but boy, it just it seems like the last couple of years, even if I go all the way back here to, January of 18, we have not moved a whole lot. A lot of back and forth, sloppy action. So we'll see what happens. I think the bulls would probably want to hold, this 50 period right here, because if it comes down through that, you got some important levels. I think you're breaking right here. Could come down here and test the rising, which is now a rising 10 period moving average. But I'm not going to sit here and beat a dead horse. It's pretty much the same spiel we would have said the last couple of days. Take a look at the IWM. I think I saw it bouncing today as well, maybe getting into the stronger day there for the IWM. Okay, maybe it's ready to play a little catch up. Remember, this thing is really lagging the other markets, and that's a sign right there. The day it had up, nice over 1% there. That maybe that's going to start getting it in gear and can help the other averages rise as well. The Qs, much like the spiders, below their 50, not quite as strong as the spiders, but and I'm not even going to pull up the diamonds. But once again, sideways action for the bulls is a good thing. And Jamie, just let me know if anybody has a question over there in the questions panel. I think even a little pullback would be good. I think you'd rather see that quicker than what we're going to see now. So maybe one of those things where we could really see some slow, Mars Friday. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Without any macro events, we could be just kind of stuck here for a few more days, but we'll see what happens. All right. Anything you want to add, Jamie?
Just kind of vacillated in that range.
Mm-hmm.
Up and down, typical action. I mean, you saw it as well as I did during the trading day. Hey, we're up nice in this position. Now we're not. Hey, we're back up again. Now we're not. I mean, it was just. I mean, everything was reflecting, the great magnet that is the S&P. But hey, those days occur, and opportunity was there, just not in as much abundance as we traders would hope for. But hey, it's a grind, right now.
Yes.
Until we get above that level or below that level, wait for a little momentum to kick in. Hey, if the trading gods are with us tomorrow, maybe we won't get it all in the gap. Maybe we will actually get to participate. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Jamie. Let's see what happens here. All right. Before I flip it over to Jamie, I wanted to talk a little bit about NEO here, because you guys know how I feel. You can see it actually finished up 1.28 on only 5 trades.
Andy,
And real quick here,
we do have an anomaly to deal with. One of the users pointed that out. I was already aware of it, but I was kind of wait till you finished up with the market recap there.
Okay.
If you click on PFG, what kind of stands out there from NEO?
Let's see.
See where the arrow is. See where the arrow is on the intraday, and where the price is. Okay. So, needless to say, I've never seen this before, but something's off there. So we have to give NEO a little bit of a downgrade here.
Well, I hear what you're saying, but I would think that this entry price was correct, unless. I'm looking at the time,
11:54 Central Standard Time. Same for you, right?
Okay. Yep. Ah, I got you. Yeah.
You see what I'm talking about now, right?
I do.
Okay. But like I said, I've never seen that before.
No.
So, needless to say, we got the coders on it.
Let me check. Let's check another one just in case. I don't know. You probably did this, but there is
everything
12.
Everything else looks fine.
Yeah.
It's just the PFG.
That one would be correct. Huh. Yeah. That's very odd. Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely have to look into that. We need to tell David, not David, but Dave.
I've already passed the torch along. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out, because we don't see that.
Okay.
I mean, I've never seen that before.
I'm glad you did. Okay, I'm glad you did. Well, even with that said, you're still looking at basically a flat trade. So, yes, Jamie's right. We'd have to figure out what went on right there for sure. But boy, there's still some decent trades out there. That was a beautiful one right there. See, ICLDS, another one that finally got going, but still made a little bit in risk off. And then this UPLD, but I'll let you do that, because you'll look in there. We had some great ones in 2.0 as well, Jamie. So I'll let you go ahead and take over.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Man, what a good day, but Holly, because it wasn't an easy day, that's for sure.
No, and in this market condition, seeing her up, even removing the PFG trade, there's still some very fertile plays that were coming out of Holly today. So let's talk about some of the risk on. I take it you can see my screen, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so a little bit of risk on to talk about. Risk on earlier in the week is a little sparse and few and far between, but we do have a couple of great examples here today, actually 3 of them from 2.0. And this CDLX, let's go ahead and take a look at it from NEO first, because this is another great example of being able to extract a little bit of that risk on versus risk off spread here. And you can see I've got the NEO down here on CDLX. We got risk off here. She's showing 8 cents. And the reason for the exit, which coincides with the shaded area up here, the timed exit. So this trade was designed around the float on strategy, and the float on strategy from NEO. Make sure I'm on the right segment here. Yeah, we can see 60-minute hold time. So of course, with the exit parameters, stop loss, profit target, timed holds, and then the 2 audibles of reduced risk and profit save, we can see indeed which is common for a lot of these Holly plays. So, we can take Holly's risk off advice, or if we like what the trade is doing, go ahead and stay in it, in essence, telling Holly, yeah, I respect your exit, but I'm going to accept more risk, therefore we're going risk on, and we get a little sideways action for, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, an hour and a half before this thing finally takes another second leg up here. Now, one thing to point out, sideways action is not necessarily a bad thing. As you were referring to earlier, Andy, not bad on the daily for the long-term plays, but of course we're in the intraday here. Sideways action after a good entry, whether it's long or short, not necessarily a bad thing. It simply means that buyers and sellers have become equal for a certain point in time. Now, as we, let's say we decided to go risk on in CDLX, what can we take comfort in? What gives us confidence in this trade? Well, first and foremost, we got the green line here, which is the 10-period SMA, otherwise known as the fast line, staying well above that bad boy the whole time, kind of getting a little bleedy here, but acting as the trampoline here and propelling it higher. So even a break-even stop loss would have kept you in this one here, right? So we could have played the half and half game, which is always the easiest way to get used to doing this. Okay, I see Holly getting out for her 8 cents. I'll take my 8 cents. I'm going to keep that second lot. I'm going to set my break-even stop. I'm going to take it from the hard stop back up to a break-even so that if it does roll over, we don't lose what we made on the first lot. But in this case, you can see the break-even stop would have kept you in, and you could have extracted somewhere between 8 and 42 cents there. So basically another 34 cents up for grabs there, and whether you capture another dime, 15 cents or 20 cents, that's the aim there. That is the goal, getting something out of this risk off and risk on spread there. So pretty good one in CDLX there out of NEO. Now let's take a look at some of the 2.0 ones. This one jumps off the page because Domo, all right? And there's my arrow right there. So we get that signal, that buy signal, 28.25. Profit save is the reason that she got out of this. Now, once again, what do we have for 1, 2? Well, this one, she got out pretty quick. These are 15-minute candles, so within the same 30-minute period here, entry time 9:24. She only stomached this one for 16 minutes, right? Of course, if we went up here and went to a 5-minute chart, that's probably going to look a little bit more obvious. We got this little up and down vacillation here. So, basically Holly plugs out of it for a loser here because it's not doing what it was intended to, which is go up here, kind of vacillates around here. So she pulls the plug, takes her, takes her 15-cent loser. Then what does it do? It comes down here and almost stops us out, right? So this brings up a very good point. If you took the trade and stuck to your hard stop and you went risk on, yeah, you were able to pull something out of this trade. Or, let's say you weren't in the trade and you come down here and you see it almost get the stop, all right? A lot of the times, and I know that there are a lot of trades coming through Holly, but I've been trying to make more of an effort to do this myself, and that is on these days where there's not really a big direction, kind of gearing yourself up for, you know what, I'm not just going to jump in there right off the bat and go, 100%. Maybe if you want to go on the initial signal, you do a third of the lot. If you're doing 100 share lots, maybe you only get in a little feeler there for 30 shares or so, because it's what our friend Steve Gomez likes to refer to as getting a little bit of skin in the game. We can always make a note or set an alert and go, okay, when it gets back up here, I'm going to play it. But a lot of the times, if it's not on our blotter and there's not at least a little bit of money in play there, it'll slip by. We'll forget about it. Lots of things can distract us. So, what I've been trying to do here lately is watch for these ones that get really close to the stop but don't trigger. And then we get a couple of green bars here, and there's a lot of opportunity. There were a couple of other examples that we'll go over here today too, where this presented itself, where you have the opportunity, once you see that stop almost get hit, and then you start to see it green up a little bit. Well, just keep in mind, below this line here, if the stop did not occur, you have the potential for what we could call price improvement, getting a better let's talk about, where did Zyop go? There it is. Okay. Let's talk about another one that looked pretty shaky as it came down here, right? Zyop. We see this little guy right here, takes a nice pop up, gets real weak, comes down here to the stop out level, then gets back above it, right? So even if you hadn't participated in this one, still it gets it on your radar, right? So we can see here, well below that 10 period SMA. Let me go ahead and get this back on to 15 minutes there. I was like, that looks weird, okay? So we see Holly actually get stopped out of this one, then we get traction back above that line. Once we get into this level here, you can see decreasing wicks, through the stop area, right at the stop area, one more, and then well above it. So, a lot of the times these plays, once they firm up and we can play off of that stop area and stay above that 10 period SMA, we get little pockets of potential alpha popping in there. All right. Let's get back over here to this one, $1.13 versus $1.27. Yeah, we could do this one, but we're only talking about 14 cents. So it's nothing to write home about. Let's take a look at AMBA here. 11 cents versus 68 cents. And of course, what's different about this one? A nice little short sell that Holly threw out there. So let's see if I can get my arrow back up here. Okay, here's the entry line, but for some reason my arrow is not present, but I guess that's okay. We can see the entry price. It's just taking a little time to populate there. All right, 42.72 entry here. Of course, keeping in tradition with the up-down inchworm nature of the market, we had a nice little push down there. Yay, immediate gratification. But then look, it seems like that 10 period just kicked it right back up. So, it's like what we were saying earlier when you're doing the market recap. Hey, I'm up. I'm back to flat. Now I'm up again. I mean, 2, 3, 4 times a day, some of these positions were doing this. This is a classic example right here. We get pushed down in the money nicely about 40 cents before wham, all the way back up to the break-even level, only to be followed by one more push down. This time, we get a close below that 10 period moving average, and then we get a nice little move down, a little sideways action, and then a push further. So once again, kind of the same song and dance. Holly plucks out of it, even though this was a timed exit, right? Just coinciding perfectly with that reversal back up to the entry line. can't see it here. I mean, hindsight's always 20/20. Hard stop still didn't come into play, and just due to the nature of the markets, you know, if you're seeing other positions do this, maybe it gears you up to be a little bit more patient, but never was really in a whole lot of pain here before we got that second push down there. And on this one, 11 cents versus 68, so 57 cents on the table there, by just deciding to take more risk and stick with the trade. And that's really about all the risk on, risk off that we have here. We do have one up here worth noting. Probably one of the prettier charts of the day, okay? Kura didn't seem to mind that the market was like a seesaw with razor blades today. Really nice entry right here at the 1791 level. But even so, we still get a little sideways action for about, including this entry bar here, 30, 40 minutes of sideways action before we get a higher lift. Now, of course, this wick kind of throws things out of kilter, kind of sullies the chart a little bit. But what I really like about these plays that go sideways for a bit, eyes are drawn to this initial high that it popped in. Sometimes these wicks act as telegraphs. You know, it popped up there, buyers took control, but zoom, came back down, get a little sideways action as buyers and sellers become equal. But comforting in the fact that that fast line is doing its job there, or the stock is behaving, whichever way you want to articulate that. And then we're in it, we're up. If we've decided to go risk on and ignore Holly's reduced risk signal there, which is typical when we get sideways movement. So she plucks her 1 cent right here. Look, right here, we're popping new highs. Nice. Well, I can't say it's a clean range break because this kind of muddies the waters here, but it's a range break nonetheless. Now, this little guy, a little bit different of a story. Relative volume finished at 2.58. And, you know, Andy, when the market was open, I'm like thinking to myself, geez, how many stocks out there are doing above like 1.5 relative volume? And there was hardly, you know, out of almost 8,000 stocks, a paltry number, right? Because I went in there and used the histogram tab, you know, like we do, and it was a small number. Kura just happened to be one of the ones that was maintaining a good 2.58 for the day. And had you added to the position here, you could have pressed that position and leveraged up a little bit more for a higher move, right? So whether you stuck with your initial position here and went risk on, or bolstered the position up here, never even came back down to the entry point. So probably one of the stronger charts that I've seen today, not only from Holly, but just about anything. Let's see here. What was that one that?
Look at that. Look at that. Well, look at Jamie.
Yeah.
Go back and look at that daily too. We got to point out that daily and Kura.
Yeah.
We talk about looking left. Look at that. Just a beautiful little breakout there.
Above that level there.
Yep, that level right there. So about an 8-month high right there. So that was a nice little move.
Yep, and then look where it stopped. You know, we always talk about looking to the left. This little area of congestion back here from looks like August of last year. So Kura might be one to keep an eye on tomorrow, because if we get above this little level here, yeah, we're not anywhere close to all-time highs, but once we get into this little playground right here, well then, you know, we might have some action up into the $22 level perhaps. So definitely one to keep an eye on. Maybe it does something tomorrow, maybe it doesn't, but definitely something to keep us amused moving forward. And I do believe that's about it from the risk on, risk off world, Andy.
All right, Jamie, you want to just pass it back over here? We'll dive into another subject matter here.
Baton incoming.
All righty. You got eyes on me?
Yep, you're good.
Jamie? All right.
Yep.
All right. Let me span this 15-minute chart out a little bit, because I'm going to be looking at some stuff here today. All right, so I'm watching, and of course everybody sees this, it's not just me, but I'm watching Builder today. Had alert go off this morning at right there at that breakout. Beautiful breakout, and look at that move, just powering higher. nice looking on the daily, setting up nicely. Got moving averages there above the, pretty much. Got the curling 10, you got the 50, you got just everything setting up pretty good. You have a beautiful move. And then it comes down. Let me zoom in a little bit here. Comes down, and let me get rid of some of these lines here. Since I don't really need these anymore. That doesn't want to disappear there for me. All right. Well, I'm gonna forget about it. But you see what happens here, okay? Comes down, finds the fast line, the 10-period moving average, the one we love so much, and it sits there and bounces, 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 then pokes his head above the range, and then, and remember, guys, the market hasn't really done anything. It may have had a little pullback. Everything's setting up good, and what does this thing do? It goes to lows, and then it goes lower on this wick, goes to lows, looks like crap, and then bounces and just goes the rest of the day, completing, still looking good, for a swing trade on this BLDR. But as I'm watching this, I can just see the frustration of any day trader in this thing. This is just the predatory algos that we had. That's nothing to do right there. Yes, more buyers than sellers, but I know there's just predatory action out there that wants to shake everybody out that's trying to play, this move right here. It will hold sometimes. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of volume in it today. So, but still, the daily was intact and it was looking really good for a nice little move. It finally, of course, got it and could have some continuation going in the next few days. But it got me thinking. It's like, for those of you who can't really swing trade and you're so yeah, what I wanted to do today is kind of maybe even show you guys a different way of trading where it's non-conventional and it's more of a contrarian approach. It makes no sense. Okay, who's in the right mind is going to let a stock go to low and then buy it? Well, in this case, it would have been a beautiful buy, and I see these all the time. Been, seeing it in Lyft is a prime example. Here's a day right here, went and tickled that low and then just bounced up. Uber is the same way, had another day where it did the same thing recently, right here, went and tickled, or nah, maybe it was back. I can't remember. Maybe it wasn't Uber, but I see it all the time. And Michael actually wrote, has a nice little alert called bouncers, and I'm sure you guys have it. Let me pull it up real quick. I'm not going to pull up the one that's been optimized to death. I'm just going to pull up the older one, the oldest one I can find. And now Steve has this optimized where it, but it has a lot of filters in it, so you don't get a whole lot of alerts coming through. But I just want to look at the basic configuration here and why something like this would backtest good. It's a total contrarian play. We'll look at the configuration here and what it's looking for. Okay, first of all, the alert is a crossed above resistance. That's an alert. The filters are price between $10 and $89. Position in previous day's range. He's looking at it to be in the lower 10% of it's got a max of 10 here, so it has to be in the lower 10% of the previous day's range. Okay, but by the nature of the breaking above resistance, that means that it was actually lower at some point, because now remember, we're breaking above resistance, which means there was some sideways action going on here, some consolidation. So obviously, if it's hitting new highs and breaking above resistance, it was more than likely trading through below yesterday's lows at one time, and he's looking for it to break above resistance and be back above yesterday's low. Obviously, the previous day low, 1%. If I click on the show me button, the price is in between 1% and 10% above the low end of this range. Okay, so it cannot be 0 is the low end of the range, so it can't of yesterday's range, so it cannot be below that. All right, and the rest of them are just some filters they use probably to optimize. That's all that's really in here. So I got thinking. I said, I'm going to try to create one just in addition to his bouncers, where I can find stocks that have a high score, in other words, above 70, and took out yesterday's lows. I'm going to use the same alert, okay, but I don't care if it's not back above yesterday's lows. In other words, if it's gone down and broken through yesterday's lows and consolidated and breaking above resistance, even though it's still above yesterday's low, I'm willing to take a chance on that just to see. I want to see how it worked and how it back tested. And I don't have a whole lot of filters in here. Let me pull up the one that I worked on today. And bouncers with score above 70. All right, so I can get rid of this one right now. All right, let's take a look at this configuration. Very similar, except for the fact that there's your alert, same alert, breaking through resistance. Price range between 20 and 99, a little bit different than what he had over there. But look at this position in previous days range. It can be as low as, and I optimized this, and it performed very well, even when it was down like 3 or 4% below yesterday's range. Now, what that means is it's not 3% below the price, okay? It's taken that range. So if the range was $1 and I have 4%, okay, it can't be more than 4 cents if the range was $1. Is that right, Jamie? I think it is.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't need it above yesterday's low. As a matter of fact, my high is 0.25%. So I want to catch it real close, either below yesterday's low or real close to yesterday's low as it's breaking out. And these were optimized, okay? Brought the average daily volume down to 300,000, and stock composite rating, there's a score, okay? We know anything above 70 is pretty good, all right? People, I know Steve says, you know, 90 to 100 is an A, you know, but really, if a stock has, remember the range is 30 to 100. So if a stock composite rate has something of 70, that's not all that bad. All right, and I had to put this time of day. For some reason, I was getting pre-market alerts in here, so that's why I added that time of day, a minimum of 15 minutes. I don't know why it was giving me pre-market stuff, but it was. I guess that breaking above resistance, Jamie, works in pre-market. All right, so yeah, that is what, this is what I've done, and let's take a look at the back test. Okay, so let's just back test this thing. Take a look at what we're doing here. Our start time is 9 o'clock. Okay, we want stocks that have been kind of sold off, taken out yesterday's low. It can even do re-optimize that. I'm not sure. Risk management. Okay, we're only going to enable a stop loss. Only going to risk 1% on this. Okay, we don't have a profit target. Our timed exit is 60 minutes. It's a 60-minute hold. All right, advanced, and we're going to run it a full 64 days. We're not going to have any trailing stops. Summary, and let's simulate buy. It's not all that great, but it's pretty impressive to think that you're buying stocks below yesterday's low, and you're getting this kind of results. I mean, who would have thunk? You know, most people, they stop out. The stock, if it's going to take out yesterday's lows, I don't have anything to do with that stock. I'm not saying that you need to change your style to just do totally contrarian things. I'm just saying when the market gets, you know, where there's no direction, you know, which is in the summertime can be many days, maybe something like this, you know, you could put into practice. What I like about this strategy is that when it doesn't work, you really don't have to wait for it to sell off 1%. You can see, and I'll show you some examples when they don't work. You know, it's pretty straightforward where you cut these things. But not bad. 2.1 profit factor, total trades 327, close to a 60% winning percentage. Like to see a little bit bigger spread there, but I tried taking this thing out further on the time. You guys can play around with that later. Maybe you can even add some more filters, whatever. I'll share this with you here in a minute, but let's take a look at some of the stocks and look what it's looking at. Let me just make this a little bit bigger. And look at today. Now, not a lot of great ones today. I mean, and a lot of the times it's just the market, you know, but I'm going to give you an example, guys. If you are, you know, trading these things, this team must look. The first alert today didn't even come out to 11:10 Central Time, so long time. And you can see there, it did take out yesterday's lows, and then it kind of went sideways for a bit, and we did have a breaking above resistance. This one obviously didn't work with a 1% stop. I mean, you could have given it a while, you know, you didn't lose a whole bunch when you finally gave up on this thing, but nonetheless, it didn't work. And you're going to see it in a market like this. This one, come on, where's my blue arrows dragging today too, Jamie? Look at there. Now that's a good one right there. Okay, you had some sideways action here for about 40 minutes, and then it broke above yesterday's range. Look at that, took out yesterday's low. No one else in the right mind is thinking about buying this stuff. You know, you got a stock that's, you know, on a 5-day low here. Why do you want to buy this? But look here, it breaks above this range. Boy, that gives you a nice little, look at that, you know, almost an hour, let's see, 15, 20, yeah, about almost an hour of upward movement there, and a nice little trade, you know, unconventional, but hey, look at there, it worked. Merck, I don't think this one worked today. No, this one just didn't work. But here's an example of one where, you know, if you got the trigger at 83.13, and really, if it breaks this level right here, 83, I mean, I'm probably out. I mean, I don't have to, when I see action like this, I don't have to give it a percent. So these are kind of trading. It's not so much. Here's another one. Looks like it didn't work, but still, you had a nice little pop right here at 42.90. Ooh, that one went off, took a while. I don't know why it didn't come off earlier right there, that range break. Yeah, that one's kind of strange. You really only had about another 5 cents in that one. And really, it didn't work. But let's take a look, see if there's anything else in this one. That one just kind of, I don't know what the heck that was, but that was pretty gnarly. Let's face it, guys, this is going to work. That one's a pretty good one there. You got a little bit of bump there. Let's take a look at yesterday and see if there's anything. But guys, keep in mind of the market we have, okay? I mean, obviously you saw the back testing results. You are going to have better days. Let's take a look at yesterday and see if we see anything worth looking at. Let me zoom out. Let me make this a little bit bigger. A pretty decent one right there. Broke out of our range. 34.14, got as high as, you know, 20 cents in that one. So if you're, like I said, these are just basically little, you know, hour-long, 60-minute hold scalps. And really, yesterday was not much better than today. I have an ETF. I wonder why that one is coming through. I have an ETF filter in there. I gotta take a look at that. I'm not sure why that one's coming through. Of course, guys, you saw the back test. Honestly, the last couple of days we had, you know, there's not, you know, a whole lot working. Ooh, that would have been a nice one for a for a day trade. Anyway, we're getting too close. Why are these coming out at 5:08? Gonna have to put another filter on there. This is an after hours. But nonetheless, let's look one more time, you know, at the back test, because really, the last couple of days, boy, there wasn't a whole lot of stuff working. But it just goes to show you, you know, I promise you, I can build a momentum scan where stocks are breaking out through highs on high volume and run a back test, and I can't get it to perform this way. So it's just, the point I'm making is there's so many algos in the marketplace, and I think you got to sometimes be unconventional than just trying to buy highs, chase highs, because if you're getting just, suckered into moves and, you're buying the top and nothing's working for you, you might try something kind of unconventional like this. Now, I know the examples I showed you weren't all that great, but you can see here, a 60% winning percentage over the last 64 days is not bad. And obviously this takes into consideration of the downturn we had, in the market, even, during this stuff too. So performing really good. I really want to see how this thing, performs if we do get into a bull market, because really over the last 60 days we've been just kind of slopping around lows and highs. But I shouldn't say bull market, we're in a bull market, but just maybe, a constant move, kind of like we saw, over here. I think something like this would work really, really great. All right, Jamie, I don't know. Like I said, I don't have my eye on the questions panel, so can you still hear me okay?
Yeah, everything's good, and questions panel.
I wasn't dragging at all, wasn't it? Okay, because on this country internet, sometimes I really drag a lot.
All good.
Guys, not only, okay, good. Wally, yeah, great topic. He says, algo stoppage. Yeah, you see it all the time, just like I showed you there in Builder this morning. And that one didn't go and take out yesterday's lows, but it's the same kind of concept. And if I can get you thinking contrarian, not necessarily just using this alert, but thinking contrarian, and trying to take advantages, of those algo moves when they shuffle down through yesterday's lows. I see it all the time, and you can capitalize on there. And the thing I like about that is they're usually low risk, because if they fail, okay, your risk is defined. So in other words, if they just dropped, let's say already dropped a percentage or a percentage and a half, okay, you're not jumping in there to, to let them things drop, drop another percent on. They're either going to bounce in or you're going to get out. So it's a nice risk reward when you try this strategy versus chasing, where you're, bound to get a pullback and have to stomach through some pain. Let's see. William, do you have any words of wisdom regarding trade management? Yeah, stick to your rules. Yeah. Define your stop every time you enter a trade, okay? Define it and stick to it. And try to let your winners run, and the easiest way to do that, and I know a lot of people preach this, but it's just words of wisdom, sell half, and that way it's a lot easier to let your other half run. But I see a lot of people taking trades that they have no idea where their stop's going to be, and they're just trading emotionally. And as long as you define your risk and you stick to it and learn to let your winners run, it could be, those are probably the game. Someone once said that let's see, some stuff coming off. Can you walk me through how we can use Holly? Roland, Holly is a great idea generator. And let me go ahead and share this, guys, real quick before I forget. And then I'll come back to your question there. And Jamie did answer it too, but I'll elaborate. All right, guys, I am going to drop this into the chat, if it'll let me. Bouncers, and there is the link. All right. Yeah, Holly is a very good idea generator, as you can see today, guys. In a market like this, when you get numbers like this, all three Hollies performed well in a very sloppy, no volume, choppy market. So there's some really good ideas. You saw Jamie went through several of them. Many people want to just hook up Holly and auto trade and You know, we've seen Holly have some bad days too. You know, over the long run, she has outperformed the spiders in risk off handily. Uh, and, you know, some of the stocks are kind of thin and there will be some slippage, but that doesn't mean there's not some great ideas. Sometimes you can get better prices than Holly. Uh, and as long as people accept it for what she was designed for, and that is idea generation, sure, you can auto trade it, but I think you better be, you got to know your game. You got to know which ones, study the strategies, study the market on the day you're planning to use the strategies, and see which strategy would be best, you know, to implement. There's just so many things that goes into it if you want to auto trade these things. You know, what kind of risk parameters or deltas are you gonna use? You're gonna try to get a better price, or are you gonna chase, you know, 5 or 7 cents? You can get in trouble doing that. So yeah, it's not a golden goose. There's, you know, you can't come in here and just, you know, hook up every one of her strategies and walk away. That's not what it was designed for. But that doesn't mean you can't auto trade some. You're just gonna have to, you know, work with it, and, you know, decide, you know, what you want to do. There's some great ideas. I mean, all you gotta do is look at that ACA today. Was that the one? No, that was the last one you showed.
After last week and this week, she's been spitting out some of these lower dollar stocks that have really moved some fantastic percentages. But, you know, for example, if you pull up that ZIOP again today, that's a great example, because what happened, you know, boom, it started moving down, and came all the way back down to that $5 level. So there's a lot of psychological warfare going on down there at that $5 level, because keep in mind, these statistical plays that Holly generates, that statistical probability doesn't expire. It's good for the entire session. It's just that, as with any type of trading, sometimes the timing might be off a little bit. So if you see ZIOP and you're like, well, this one's not working, matter of fact, it just inchwormed its way through the stop area, and now it's hovering right around 5. We all know what happens at that psychological level when a stock is at a whole number like that. And then, of course, look what it's butting up against, yesterday's high, right? So, you know, once again, this was a great one where if you didn't take that initial entry, or you just went in with some small size as a tester, you know, once you kind of felt it out down here and saw that bottoming wick, you can get a much better price than Holly and use a stop like low of the day, very minimal you know, risk there, where, hey, they're gonna have to get me out by punching a new low, and in this case, that didn't happen, you know, after those bottoming 2 wicks there through 5, or right at 5, because I think you remember hearing me say, well, it's gonna be interesting to see if ZIOP holds the $5 level, and it did, right? So, you know, especially on a day like today where we got the inchworm action, and, you know, some of the other indicators that we look at to kind of try to give us an idea what the day's gonna be like, you know, it's about expectations, right? Yeah, it's going to be one of those days. You know, the wind's going north and it's going south. It's gusting up to 30 and then it's falling back down to flat. So, you know, a little bit of feel with statistics through. You just have to pick which ones are typically your favorites and monitor those plays. And sometimes they go right off the bat. Sometimes you get a chance to get a better price than Holly. But anyway, there's so much to talk about with Holly. That's why I notated in the answer section there. If you can attend the support webinar that starts at 11 a.m. tomorrow, you get myself, Steve, Andy, and Sean all in there, and we can talk about this till the cows come home. So if you can make it, we'd love to have you in there.
And William, you mentioned the pre and post market shading. I just put it up right there. I can see the post market and the pre market in there just fine. You got to right click and you go to properties, and that's where you have to make sure they're checked. But yeah, they're working just fine. You just go to properties and just, you know, check them. I'm unchecking them now. All right, thank you, Christopher and Mike C and Wally and all you guys. Appreciate it. You guys hang on. Who don't have a subscription, Scott's going to offer you a discount. And as we close out here, all right, Scott, you want to come back in?
Hey, thanks. Yeah, a couple items on the way out. First of all, there's a new collection of ebooks that both of your hosts, Andy and Jamie, contributed chapters to. So get them, catch all three, like Pokemon. Trade-ideas.com/setup will take you to a page where you can put in your email address and get the download links. So go ahead and do that. It's a great update. There's 2 chapters per book, and each book is organized according to a different theme. Try it out. Um, got a podcast. We'll probably have a new episode up tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Just search for Trade Ideas Podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts, whatever app, and add us as a subscription. There you go. It's easy. There's a code, summertime, all caps, good this month. Use it. 15% off your first month or year of Trade Ideas to start, or if you're already a subscriber, do the upgrade. And use the same code to upgrade from standard to premium. Get the extra features, the AIs, all that. Info@trade-ideas.com is the correct place to ask us for help. That goes directly into our help desk software and gets routed to the appropriate team member. Again, info@trade-ideas.com is where you want to go for help. You can follow Jamie on Twitter at QuantBot. Steve Gomez is at Today Trader. We also have that Trade Ideas. Facebook.com/TradeIdeasPro is the Facebook page to like and share. Thanks, everyone. We'll have a recording up later on tonight or tomorrow. Everyone have a good one. Thanks, Jamie. Thank you, Andy.